Hey guys, it's Wayne, one of the CGM editors, and it's...
Carter.
You can say your name. It's Carter, okay.
Some guy at CGM.
Yeah, and this is Bound by Flame, which is actually a new RPG put out by a not-so-huge publisher. It's Focus Home Interactive.
Never heard of it.
I've seen a few of their titles here and there, but I'm actually not too familiar with what they've put out. They're kind of like one of the few surviving smaller publishers, like THQ, before THQ stopped being THQ.
Got bought out.
Yeah. But yes, they have put this game out. It's called Bound by Flame. It's a cross-generational title, which means that it's out on the PS3, 360, PS4, and Xbox One, and we're playing the PS4 version here now. Carter, you actually saw a little bit of this before we started, and you already noted that this does not look like a top-tier PS4 title.
Yeah, it was kind of the first thing that stuck out. The dude looks pretty nice, but the ground doesn't stick out as being nice. Next gen, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the lighting and the textures and all that sort of thing. This is something that could easily be done on, like, a last generation machine, which is good since it also appears on a last generation machine. You can definitely tell, though, that the performance is a little better. The frame rate is good. It's just that rather than locking it at 30 frames per second all the time, it's actually uncapped, which means that when you get into like smaller environments where there's not so much to render, you can actually noticeably see the frame rate shoot up to like 40, 50 frames per second.
Yeah.
Which doesn't bug some people, but I know that others, they prefer having it stay at 30 and not wildly bounce around depending on.
Better up than down, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we've got here. So this is actually near the beginning of the game. The task I was given was just to lay out some traps for the invaders, because you actually play what they're calling the Powder Master, basically the primitive explosives expert.
So
of these free blades. It's just like this mercenary unit that's being hired by a bunch of wizard guys to protect them while they conduct some important magical spell.
But not much is given info on that.
And now it's like, and here are the bad guys. Now the bad guys in this game are referred to as the Ice Lords, who come from the north and have an army of the undead and are bringing winter to the land below. And
White Walkers!
Wait a minute.
This is a completely original plot now,
I've heard
isn't
this
it?
before. Wow. I could see that he was one of these white beings by his eyes. They were glowing white.
But yeah, here's the one thing that I like about this game. I am playing it for review, but one thing that you notice right off the bat is that the combat here is closer to more a Conan the Barbarian than like a Ninja Gaiden or a Devil May Cry.
It does give that kind of
it's
vibe.
like the combat is actually quite measured. You have to consider your moves. You're not endlessly stringing together combos. You've got to wait for your strikes. You've got to block.
Is there a difficulty setting for this?
Yes, there is a difficulty setting. Yeah,
I'm
right now. I'm actually just playing on the. Well, actually, for the purposes of this demo, I'm actually just playing on the easiest setting.
Of course.
Because I did not want to die too often. That was the thing that I actually found when I was playing through this game on the normal difficulty setting, is that you actually die pretty frequently. And the reason for that is because, it's actually not an easy game.
Okay. Well, I like that. Yeah. I like hard games.
It is an RPG, so you can level up and all that sort of thing. It is possible to grind.
Okay.
But you're only going to be able to make life easier for yourself if you go out and you grind a lot. Like I'm talking hours.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah. So most people, I doubt that they'll have the patience to say, it's like, yeah, I could just try and beat this game the hard way, or I could kill the next 3 or 4 hours just beating up on monsters so that I can just get through this level. For the purposes of this, I'm just playing on easy again, so that you can, it's like just get a feel for the combat. But yeah, it's like blocking is all important. It's like actually having the timing to stun your enemies and then move in for a strike is also terribly important.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Dark Souls, how it's a little more strategic.
Exactly. Yeah, there is a strategic element to this actually. So it actually does borrow a bit from Dark Souls. As far as this combat goes. One other thing that I do like about this is that you might actually be able to appreciate this yourself since you've now got experience with this, is that it mimics a bit of Final Fantasy XIV.
Okay.
Actually, the way the combat works, in that all you have to do is switch weapons and you switch character classes.
Okay, I was gonna ask you about that. Yeah, is there some sort of character creation, or is this just...
No, there's a... You're stuck with, the character that you get. You can switch around the look and the gender of the character a little bit.
Okay, that's
but you
nice
can't
option.
actually pick, like, wizard, archer, blah, 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 any of that stuff. You just get the one guy. And he switches... you fight this, like, soon, actually. Like, probably within the first hour of the game, you have to go up against something. But the way this actually works is that there are basically 3 character classes. There's, like, the sword-swinging guy. He uses heavy weapons, swords, axes, and anvils. And then there's the assassin type, who just has, like, the double blades, and he's a lot faster. And all you have to do is just hit the R1 trigger, once you get far enough into the game to do this. You just hit the R1 trigger to switch back and forth between those 2 classes, and you're just instantly switching between heavier attacks and lighter, faster attacks.
So that comes up with some cool combos later on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can actually, and later on you're actually encouraged to do it, switch back and forth between moving in for the heavier attacks with some enemies and then getting in some fast strikes.
Okay, yeah, that's cool, because I was kind of wondering when you mentioned how it's similar to Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Because I know that on the higher difficulties of Devil May Cry, it is a very strategic game.
Yeah.
Like, if you miss one combo hit, you're done.
And, like, on the normal game, I mean, like, if I switched to easy because I'm talking and playing at the same time, which is always a hard thing to do.
Of course.
But on the normal game, when I actually went through this level the first time, I was just dying repeatedly because I was trying to play it like, Devil May Cry, or Ninja Gaiden or any of those other games where I would just try and, like, spam the buttons and get in, like, some hard and fast hits, and that doesn't work. I mean, you just die. Yeah. You have to block, you have to time your strikes, and if you don't do this, you're just going to get frustrated and walk away from this game. So, so in that sense, I actually like where the game is going for combat. I'd have to say so far, though, I'm not real impressed with the story or the writing. I mean, I told you what the basic plot was already, which just screams Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I don't know if they were trying to go for that.
Yeah, so there is that, and then, it's like on top of that, I mean, the art direction itself, I mean, it's like, there's clearly a talented art team at work here, but when you look at it, it's also very Lord of the Rings-y, Game of Thrones-y, Dragon Age-y.
A little bit,
It looks...
I mean, I am
pretty standard issue for, what you would get with, it's like any fantasy Western RPG.
Yeah.
I mean, it
runes,
just looks like
fire,
yeah, there's runes,
boulders.
there's fires. It's like it's got that grittier look. It's like the armor is all beat up and all that sort of thing. So you've seen this sort of thing before. I mean, it's like they're doing it well. They're just not really pushing themselves in terms of originality.
Yeah.
So that's Bound by Flame.
That's Bound by Flame.
Yeah.
Well, what is the Bound to the Flame? Like,
eventually, you
find
will
out.
get possessed by, very early on in the game,
Okay.
you will get possessed by a flame-based demon.
Fighting
who
the ice.
basically possesses you and says, it's like, I will offer you more and more power if you're willing to do it, but that means that I'm going to corrupt you. So there's a choice-based element in the plot about whether or not you resist the dark side of the Force and continue to just use your warrior skills, or whether you continue to give in to the demon and say, yes, give me more power, and
That's pretty neat.
open up the magical powers, which makes it easier for you, but also corrupts you to the demonic force.
So there's multiple endings?
It appears to be going that way. Like, I'm still playing it for review, so I haven't hit the end, but yes, there are choices. You don't actually get a morality meter that tells you have made good choice, you have made bad choice. That stuff doesn't pop up, which I actually kind of like, is that, you kind of just make the choice and people react to it, and the game is not telling you your choice is evil or saintly. So, it's like, we'll just have to see where it goes.
Kind of like a Fable situation where eventually you just turn into a big, disgusting creature?
Yeah. But we'll see what happens, throughout the rest of the game. But it's like these are the opening minutes. It's not an easy opening. It looks like it from the way that I was playing, but it's not.
Easy mode.
Yeah. So it's Bound by Flame.
Bound by Flame.
Focus Home Interactive. The developers are Spiders. It's out for the PS3, the 360, the PS4, and the Xbox One.
Thanks for watching.
That's the game.